The rich get richer. Just when you think the Rams can't get any more awesome, they go out and add Bobby Wagner, a position they usually historically don't care too much about, but they're getting a really good linebacker. Let's get into what I like about Wagner, and then we'll kind of talk about the scheme fit towards the end of the video. Let's start off with a play like this. Let's talk about his ability to help stop the run. That's definitely something that he's always been amazing at and still is great at. What we're going to see is that the way this works is it's going to essentially end up being a double team with the right tackle who's going to start off blocking a defensive end, but then get over and he's going to try to block Bobby Wagner. That's how this works. This is the very basic situation that happens in not all, but in most running plays. Look at how right when this play begins, so Braden Smith, that's the right tackle who's blocking right here. Look at how he gets in relatively pretty good position to block Wagner, you would assume. I think this is something that you feel pretty good about this. Now, worth mentioning is that number 8 for Seattle doing a good job of kind of blowing up this play a little bit, going to force Jonathan Taylor to get to the right a little bit, so that helps things. That situation is also happening kind of at the bottom part of the circle right there, although I'm mostly just trying to circle Wagner. You see Wagner, and what do you do here though? A, you want to read where the halfback is going. Your goal is to tackle the halfback, so you got to pay attention to that. And watch how he's able to sidestep Smith right there and able to run over and help make that tackle. So that's a very good play, and this is what Bobby Wagner does, is he's a very good run-stopping linebacker, and I think that's part of why the Legion of Boom was so effective over the years. There's a lot of reasons why it was so effective. One of those reasons, though, was you'd have a guy like Bobby Wagner who could run over and help stop the run as well. Like, that matters. Of course, going over to coverage a little bit, it's not like he can't cover. He's a very good coverage linebacker as well. He can do it all. There's no denying that. That's why he's going to be wearing a gold jacket one day. The way this play works, he's the middle linebacker here, so he's covering that white circle. There's a little route just underneath that Wentz is going to try and throw to. This, again, something very common, what you will see against zone coverage, just when teams are playing far off like that, we'll just work underneath. You can, the whole idea is you can't go broke making a profit. You're gaining yards, you're slowly moving the ball down the field. It's better than an incompletion, and it's certainly better than a turnover. Like, look, right when this play begins, you see how there's this little bubble, and that's by design. That's not like a bad play by Wagner, but actually the bubble isn't as big as you might expect. Typically it'd be bigger, but Wagner's reading this play well. Look at him step in, and he is going to be able to knock it away and get the incompletion. So even on a safe play, he can still do something like that and cause it to not work out. So that's kind of, again, another one of those reasons why he's been so effective over the years is with stuff like that. It's with these, hey, let's just get a few yards here and let's, move the ball down the field, and he won't let you do that. He kind of takes away that largely. That's most of his game. This plays another example. This is going back to the running game a bit, and what you're going to see here is you have the left tackle who's going to start off blocking Wagner. Like, look, right here, what you're going to see is that's what happens, but Jonathan Taylor is not going to be running there anyways. You see the gap Taylor wants to run through, and this is the thing about Wagner is, again, he's just a smart player. He has great instincts. I think a lot of guys here would basically just stay in their spot, which would allow for this run to work out, but not Wagner. Watch him make the read, and he's going to be the one who steps over and actually makes that tackle on Jonathan Taylor. So, again, this is what Wagner can do, and he does this stuff consistently. He's a very difficult guy to deal with in the running game, largely for those reasons, largely because he can make that stuff happen. Like, this one's another one where, again, it's going to be a double team, but then someone's going to get off the double team, go up to block Wagner right there. Also worth mentioning, though, this is going to be a run to the right. And so watch how quickly Wagner reads this. I want you to really pay attention to how quick he starts to make his move. Look at how almost immediately he's getting over, and at this point, so you're trying to finish off this double team, you're trying to block Wagner away from the right side of the field. The issue here is that he read the play so quickly, you just don't have time to get over there. And if a linebacker does make a quick enough read and can get to a spot quick enough, then you're just not going to be able to make your block, especially if there's double team involved. And that's what happened right here with Wagner. And he's someone who, you could definitely make the argument of, well, isn't this kind of a double-edged sword? If you make your reads too quickly, couldn't then on like a play action, for example, something go wrong? And that's possible. That could happen, but it just doesn't really happen with Wagner. That's kind of the thing, is like in a vacuum, yes, if we were talking about a rookie linebacker, I'd say, okay, well, maybe I'd be concerned about that at the next level, or, as in like a college guy, that's what I would say. But Wagner is not a college guy. He's a guy who's been in the league for forever. So no, yeah, it's not an issue. Also, look at how he's going to end up still being weirdly the one who makes that tackle. So I kind of just use that play as like, oh, that's a good example of how we can get over. Didn't really matter. The play got blown up further down the road anyways, but then he actually made the tackle, so that was kind of another weird, fun thing to happen there. One last play I want to talk about. Let's talk about this one. So it's going to be zone coverage. You see where he's covering again. It's the white zone. That's where he's covering, and you see the route that Trey Lance on this play is going to want to throw to. Right when this play begins, you can see that, okay, you see how this can work, right? If you get to the right side of Wagner, that's how you can make this throw. However, look at how Wagner is able to reach over and he knocks that ball away. And again, that's kind of the value in a coverage linebacker, right? It's oftentimes going to be in zone coverage. Man coverage also, does happen. But most of the time when you talk about a coverage linebacker, you think about zone coverage, which that's what Seattle played. So, there you go. And usually the idea is just get a linebacker who can cover the most grass, basically biggest area of the field, who has the biggest span and just biggest chunk of the field you're just taking away. And Wagner can definitely cover a good amount. Maybe he could cover a little bit more 3 years ago, but he can still cover a good amount. He's still definitely a very valuable player. When you watch his tape, you definitely see that. So yeah, I mean, listen, the Rams love their stars, a lot of stars in LA now, and this is how they win Super Bowls. And quite frankly, I'm really interested in seeing how this is going to work. I mean, listen, Bobby Wagner is awesome. We all know that. But it's also kind of just interesting. My first reaction is the Rams aren't a team that typically goes after linebackers. They're typically a team that kind of feels as though it's not the most important position. And in fairness, they're only giving him a little over $10 million a year. So they're not giving him like a ton of money, although it is a long contract. That's all 5 years. So for Wagner's age, that's a little surprising. But then, guarantees come into play. How long, what are your potential outs if he does fall off at any point? And Wagner's still good now. So the Rams did have a bit of money to spend here, not cap space, but in terms of actual cash. And I keep saying that's what matters, and that's why the Rams are able to make this move, and maybe the Green Bay Packers won't, even though they have more cap space, because cap space isn't what you need to pay attention to. You need to pay attention to actual cash. The Rams had cash, and the Rams they're not going down without a fight. Listen, Tom Brady comes back. They're saying, we beat you last year, we'll beat you again this year. At least that's their logic behind it, and I just think it's so smart. I'm always a fan of what the Rams do with this stuff. I think they do such a good job of, in the draft, later in the draft, acquiring these solid starters that they can make these splash moves. And the team that just won the Super Bowl went out and added Bobby Wagner and Allen Robinson. Have kind of lost a couple of guys too. Robert Woods, of course, who was there for half of the year, and Odell, who was there for the other half of the year, although Odell still could come back, who knows. But yeah, I like the move. And I think he should fit in that scheme well. I mean, imagine him cleaning up tackles with Aaron Donald in front of him. I mean, that's just going to be amazing. So yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.